Bueno, muy buenas tardes a todas las personas que se empiezan a unir a nuestro webinar informativo del día de hoy, 4 de noviembre del 2025. En esta ocasión, como lo pueden ver, estamos con Imperial College London, ubicado en Londres, en el Reino Unido, y particularmente, como sabrán, todas las webinars informativos que tenemos en este año y en el segundo semestre son con las universidades que tienen convenios con COLFUTURO, y particularmente Imperial College ofrece 8 becas del 25% para todos los beneficiarios en programas de Master of Science. En esta ocasión, como lo pueden observar, estamos acompañados de Catherine. Ella es representante de la universidad y nos va a brindar información muy relevante relacionada a oferta académica, opciones de financiación y todas las demás recomendaciones que ella dentro de su vasta experiencia pueda brindarnos. Y por otro lado tenemos a Julián y a Juan Sebastián. Ellos son estudiantes beneficiarios de Colfuturo, Julián de la promoción del 2025, quienes nos van a dar también todas sus recomendaciones, un poco esta vez desde la perspectiva del estudiante colombiano en el exterior. Entonces, la invitación es a que dejemos todas las preguntas e inquietudes que nos puedan surgir en el cajón de Q&A y con muchísimo gusto nuestros panelistas nos ayudarán a resolverlas. Entonces, sin más preámbulo, Julián, Juan Sebastián, Catherine, thank you so much for being here today with us. We are so happy to have you here. You can go ahead and start your presentation.
Thank you. Hola a todos y buenas tardes. I'm going to speak in Spanish, in English, as my Spanish is a little bit rusty, so hopefully that's okay with everyone. But I will give an introduction to Imperial, some highlights about options studying with us, what you could expect to be a student with us, the fantastic opportunity we have with COLFUTURO, and then, yes, I'm extremely pleased to also have a couple of our current scholars with us who introduce themselves and share their experience as well. Right, so starting off to introduce Imperial. So Imperial is quite a special university in the sense of it is a very focused, specialised university, only focusing on science, technology, engineering, medicine and business. And as you'll hear, we think that combination of subjects offers some really exciting opportunities. We're also very proud of actually being very strong in those disciplines. So rankings aren't everything, but no matter which rankings you look at, Imperial performs pretty well, and we're extremely pleased to 2 years in a row be voted the second best university in the world in the QS rankings, and that's through a number of metrics and just shows our kind of overall strength really. So a little bit about us. So we were founded as a university in 1907, so over 100 years ago, and most recently then added the business school in the last few decades as well. So as mentioned, very specialised community, but around 23,000 students in total, with about half of those being graduate students doing masters and PhDs. We have well over 200 different master's programmes, postgraduate courses, and we're also incredibly international as a university. So over half of our students come from outside the UK, which we think really adds to the experience of being a student with us. We have technically 9 campuses in London, with most of those being very specialised campuses. So we have one just outside London, for example, Silwood Park, which looks at conservation science programmes. Probably the best not to be offering a programme like conservation science in the heart of a big major city. So that's why that's located that little bit further outside the city. We have our specialist medical campuses. But South Kensington and White City are our kind of 2 largest campuses. White City is our newest campus with fantastic new research labs in areas like bioengineering, for example. And then South Kensington is our kind of traditional home, offering quite a few of the programmes across areas like business, the sciences, and a lot of the engineering disciplines. Just to kind of give you an example of where you would be kind of at places like South Kensington in terms of just how close you are to all the kind of things going on in London. This is just a shot of South Kensington, and you can see we are next to places like the Natural History Museum. You might have heard of the Science Museum. We're just a couple of minutes walk from Hyde Park, for example, and the Royal Albert Hall is actually where our graduation ceremonies take place. So as a student, you'll get used to being part of the kind of environment in London. And we really think London is a fantastic place to be a student. So we'd really argue that there is nowhere else on earth that is like London in terms of being a student. So we're not the only university in London. There are 40 universities throughout the city, 5 being in the world's top universities. It's an incredibly cosmopolitan and diverse city, over 300 languages spoken. It's also a great place to think about networking. So, the number of industries available, the number of companies that have bases in London. And it's not just us who say it's a fantastic city. So currently London is ranked the number 3 student city in the world, but it was actually number 1 for 6 years in a row before that. So it's a fantastic place to consider being a student. Now, we are very much a London university, but we're very proud of the fact we are very internationally outward looking. So Imperial, as you heard, is a very diverse university with very international students, very international academics, but we're also looking to kind of share the work we're doing at Imperial throughout the world. So we've chosen a number of spaces, a number of hubs in strategic countries and cities to build kind of more collaborations, which is opening up more partnerships, more kind of work with industry, more work with governments, and particularly universities. So this just gives you a sort of example of how we, partner with universities from across the globe to really kind of boost that kind of connection and opportunities for Imperial staff and students. Research is at the core of kind of everything we do. So we're very proud of how we perform in what's something called the Research Excellence Framework. So this is an audit of the quality of British research that takes place about every 6 years or so. And it basically looks at seeing if the research at British universities is kind of nationally leading, internationally leading, or even world leading research. So you can see we do incredibly well in that. So we're really seen as a research powerhouse. But we're not just kind of doing kind of pure research for the sake of it. We have a lot of industrial connections, and we're very conscious of offering a curriculum for all of our students that will be very relevant to the workplace. So a lot of the feedback we get from top companies, top employers, top industry leaders, does feed into the curriculum so that we are really kind of training up graduates who are ready to hit the world of work after they leave us. So I mentioned we're a specialist university, but we do have a wide range of programmes within the areas. There are 4 kind of key faculties we have. So we have 10 different engineering departments, so full range of engineering programmes. In the natural sciences, your sort of chemistry, life sciences, mathematical, physical sciences. Also looking slightly more on the policy side of things. So we have our Centre for Environmental Policy. We also have programmes like science communication as well. So kind of looking at how we get the information out and policies decided when it comes to the sciences. We have one of the largest graduate intakes of kind of medicine related programs, ranging from your kind of real sort of medical kind of scientific program, sort of things like cancer biology, for example, all the way through to areas like public health again. So full spectrum of programs within the medical area. And then our business school as well has a wide range of finance programs, as well as areas looking more kind of specialist management and areas like innovation and entrepreneurship as well. We also want to encourage kind of connection between these different subject areas. So we want our scientists to work with our engineers, to work with our medics, and also our scientists with that kind of business side as well. So we have a number of global challenge institutes, which I think kind of illustrate how we think as a university we can together in those subjects kind of really tackle some of the world's biggest problems. And there will be master's programs within these as well. So we have things like our Energy Futures Lab, our Institute of Global Health Innovation, and Institute of Infection as well. And as I said, that kind of relationship between the sort of STEM subjects and then also the business side does open a lot of really exciting opportunities for our students. So we know all of our students are really bright and have fantastic ideas. So we want to enable them to make them into a reality, no matter which department, which programme they're studying. So we have sort of extra support available to students and opportunities to get involved through things like something called our Enterprise Lab, which is basically basically an entrepreneurship kind of ecosystem network for students who are interested in seeing if they could make their ideas into a business or combine their ideas and collaborate with other students to see, if their input could make a difference to a project, for example. We do have our graduates go on and, kind of go into research, go into academia, go into work in industry, but we are finding more are looking to kind of carve out their own path and actually start up their own companies. So you can see here how they can get involved in things like mentorship schemes, pitching competitions, skills workshops, to actually see if they could start their own business. And as I said, more and more are looking to do this, and we've raised well over £550 million of investment in student startup companies. But just some other things to kind of sort of think about when you're like considering what you want to be studying and where. So other opportunities that you can get involved at Imperial are things like our clubs and societies. So these are available to all students at all levels to get involved in, ranging from kind of dance and kind of techie things being like Imperial, like our drone society, robotics society, lots of cultural societies to get involved in, sport, music. But then we have things like a tea drinking society as well. So lots of opportunities to kind of keep up your other interests or meet new people and try new things. And we do have a range of support across our kind of departments for all of our students. So all students will have a kind of lead in their department, so their course director associated with the particular masters that they are studying, and then the wellbeing support services connected to their particular department. So there'll be kind of wellbeing representatives, there'll be tutors, subject librarians, particularly for their programme. And then you have all the support of the wider university as well. So whether that's the counselling and mental health wellbeing service, the financial support team. Also, you do have access to the NHS when you are a student with us as well. So you don't need to worry about kind of medical insurance or anything like that. And something to particularly highlight for graduate students is something called the Imperial Early Career Researcher Institute. So this is an overarching support body for all of our graduate students, whether you're doing a master's or a PhD, to basically get extra support, extra opportunities to network and meet students from other departments. There'll be specific kind of skills sessions, things like developing your research skills, for example, and just opportunities to network throughout the year as well, and kind of add something to your experience, add that kind of extra experience and another opportunity to meet students from across the whole university. Kind of as a result of all of this, our graduates are highly sought after. So we're very proud of kind of what our graduates go on and do after they study with us. So we have fantastic career support services that are open from day one for you to go and talk to in terms of developing your resume, kind of what employers you might want to reach out to. We also have lots of kind of alumni engagement as well, kind of mentoring schemes. So you can see here we do have some amazing rates of employability after our graduates leave. So, you are in a really great opportunity to make the most afterwards. Just to kind of say, currently UK studying in the UK as a master's student, you do get 18 months to stay in the UK afterwards to look for work opportunities. But our alumni are all around the world doing amazing things. So we have kind of lots of alumni across different parts of the globe with things like alumni networking opportunities and networking groups. Something we have that's really exciting is called Plexus. So this is an online platform that allows you to keep connected to other alumni after you graduate, no matter where you are in the world. So you can, if you find yourself in a new country, you can find out who's around from the Imperial community, a chance to network, share job opportunities, for example. So you have just when you graduate, that doesn't mean that you're kind of closing the door on your Imperial chapter. You'll be able to kind of keep in touch well after you graduate. as I said, our graduates are all around the world doing amazing things. It's just a few examples of the types of areas that our students go into. So yes, very strong kind of engineers, but again, that kind of point around, looking to drive policy as well, and kind of new initiatives gaining from the experience they've had at Imperial, but also then those looking to start their own companies as well, with that kind of entrepreneurial support. I'd like to kind of give an example of one of those, which I think is quite a nice illustration of kind of how doors can open at university in maybe ways that you don't expect. So one of our graduates actually started in an aeronautical undergraduate degree with us, and then went on and did a master's in global innovation design. And he's actually now a fashion designer, basically a clothes manufacturer, which seems like quite a leap from being an aeronautical engineer. But the kind of opportunities that opened up when he was at Imperial basically allowed him to use his kind of engineering knowledge and actually apply it then to fashion. So this company here, Petit Pli, actually has designed clothing that grows with children. Sorry, so you can see here it's the same piece of clothing, but actually it will fit both 14-month-year-old and a 32-month-year-old. And actually, what Ryan did was use the knowledge that he gained in the aeronautics degree around the materials used for satellite launches. So this material has to be packed down incredibly small, incredibly light, to launch the satellites. And he used this technology actually to then use the material in clothing. So that kind of really tight packed down clothing was the same kind of principle. So you never know kind of what opportunities, what doors might open when you are at university. So I'm just going to move on to talk about the admission side of things, the application process a bit. So in terms of applying to master's programs, so for Imperial, all the applications are direct to us through our website. Just to say, there is an application fee, but you can apply for a waiver for this. So there is lots of information on the website about how you would submit that. Often things like waiting for funding can be seen as a reason to be able to waive the fee, but you will need to double check kind of your circumstances. So applications for 2026 entry are open. They normally open for us kind of the beginning of October each year for the following year. There are different timelines to be aware of. So some departments may be doing application rounds, some may have an open kind of application, and we would encourage earlier applications rather than later. But also I'll talk specifically about considering the COLFUTURO funding when you want to ensure that you have kind of submitted your application in the aim of having an offer already. So just in terms of what we are looking for, if you are still studying, we would ask you to upload your transcripts, otherwise your degree certificate as well as your transcripts. We do ask for 2 academic referees, so we would ask you to provide the contact details of people that we can contact to basically kind of back up your application, kind of provide insights into your academic ability. So we do usually expect at least one of these to be from your undergraduate studies, from an official university email address. If you have been out of study for a while, or you have very relevant kind of work experience, then one referee could be a professional one or from some sort of experience, but we do need at least one to be academic. There is a statement of purpose, a personal statement, which I'm going to talk about more in a moment. And generally, it is based on your kind of academic grades, your personal statement, and then the kind of references to back up, apart from a few of the technicalities around having a sufficient English language demonstration. And there's something to be aware of called the ATAS, the Academic Technology Approval Scheme, that you may be required for some programs. So it will clearly say on the web pages, and we'll send you information about that. But it's something you don't need before you apply. So just be aware that might be something we would look for. So in terms of to make a strong application, what we'd be looking for is for you to have a with a minimum GPA of 3.75 out of 5. Although to kind of be seen as a strong candidate, we'd be looking for a 4 out of 5. But there can be some variance there. Some of our programs are more competitive than others, but this is the kind of area we'd be expecting as kind of that minimum and hopefully beyond to have a good chance of being considered for our programs. When it comes to English language, we accept a wide range of qualifications. There's a full list on the website, but common ones, things like IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo English, PTE, for example. And again, we'll list kind of what we need exactly in those levels on the web pages. What I would say is that the English language doesn't come into the kind of academic considerations. So you don't necessarily need to have the English language at the point of applying, but you need to be ensuring that you are going to be taking that and getting the results in time for your offer to basically become an unconditional offer, which happens in the summer. So if you were made an offer and you haven't got your English language tests kind of already sorted, it will be conditional that you sit these by June normally. So if you're kind of ready to apply academically, you've got your, kind of everything together, I would say don't wait to sit an English language test. As long as you're kind of indicating you will be taking one, that's usually fine, but it will be a requirement before you enroll. So as I said, kind of a lot of the application is based on your academic strength, kind of how well you've done in your undergraduate degree, but we also want to kind of, see how you stand out against other students who are applying perhaps with, similar academic levels. So part of how you do this really is the personal statement. So this is normally a kind of 2-page document, roughly. There's no set requirement, but that's a good kind of indication to go for. And it's basically a chance for you to really highlight why you are the best student to go on to this particular program, and basically why we should be looking to have you in our classroom, why you're the highly motivated student. So it's all about sort of highlighting things from your academic undergraduate studies that are particularly relevant to this master's program, but also things we can't just get from your transcripts as well. So really bring in the application to life. I will say, if you are considering, say, applying to US universities or kind of perhaps in your undergraduate applications, it's not a personal statement in terms of kind of your personal story. It's an kind of an academic argument as to why you're the best fit for that particular program. So as I said, you can highlight particular classes that are relevant, particular experiences, research, internships, for example, that are particularly relevant to what you want to be doing in this program. You can talk about if you have career aspirations, either academically or professionally, how this master's might support you in that. And then really kind of why this particular program. So you will be uploading this directly to Imperial, so you can tailor it to really kind of say why you want to be studying at Imperial in terms of, particular field of study, in terms of maybe the research focus of Imperial, the research focus of the department that you're looking for, potentially, maybe some of the facilities available for your particular area of study, and why that very particular course. You'll find that the website goes into a lot of detail around what you will be studying on the individual master's programs. So what we call the modules, the classes you'll be taking on the program. So you can highlight if there are particular classes that you're really interested in and why you're particularly interested in those. So this statement really is your chance to kind of stand out and bring kind of the rest of your application to life. Just kind of to go backwards slightly, in most cases for engineering, our sciences programs, medical programs, that is kind of it. It's your academic kind of strength through your transcripts, your degree certificate, the personal statement with the English language, and then the referees to back it up. But just be aware, if you are applying to programs in the business school, there may be a couple more extra steps to take. For example, a GMAT or GRE might strengthen your application, but these aren't kind of required for any of our other areas. And things like a career planning document may be required. But again, all very transparent around kind of what is required by the individual programs on the website, the individual pages. So just to kind of wrap up before I introduce our wonderful students, just to kind of highlight the opportunity that we're really excited to be offering in partnership with COLFUTURO. So as already mentioned, we have up to 8 joint graduate loan scholarships where Imperial will be covering 25% of the tuition fees. So here just have the outline of kind of the timeline you want to be thinking about in order to give yourself the best opportunity to be considered for the programme. So, of course, please do ensure that you're applying to COLFUTURO within the window, so January to March. Please do ensure you do that. And then in terms of kind of the best practice for us, we would advise you to try and have an offer on the table by the 31st of March. So if you can apply earlier, the better. In order to have an offer by the 31st of March, we would recommend you submit your application by the 7th of January. So still plenty of time at this point, but that would be kind of best practice to ensure you have that offer nice and early. As our final kind of deadline to consider students for this particular opportunity would be the 19th of May. So, you could submit an application later and there may be still a chance to have it turned around. But we do receive a number of applications, obviously, from around the world for all our different programs. So this kind of timeline is best practice in order to ensure you will certainly be considered for the opportunities. So we just want to give you the best opportunity to be considered. So if you can get everything in by the recommended deadlines, that would be a best practice, basically. At the end, I will share my contact details, but if you do have particular queries around the scholarship and the kind of opportunities of funding, please do reach directly out to my colleagues in the scholarships team. Okay, so we kind of have heard quite a bit from me. So I would love now to invite our current students to introduce themselves. So they have been with us now a month or two, so just settling in. But I would love for Paula, Juan, and Julian to introduce themselves and share their experiences, and then we can open up for questions. Paula, do you want to go first?
Yes, I'll go first.
Thank you.
Okay, so, well, hello, my name is Paula. I'm from Colombia, of course. I'm a chemical engineer student at Imperial. I started a month ago. I think I have some piece of advice for everyone watching, and is that you should apply as soon as you can. Even though the deadline is far away, you should start as soon as possible, because the more time you have for you, the better. You will feel more comfortable and you could ask questions and that kind of things. Talking about Imperial, I think it is really good. Like, you would have a lot of people to talk to. It's always so, like, it's pretty international, so you would know a lot of cultures, and there's a lot of people who will be there to support you in case you need it. And yeah, so if you're maybe doubtful if you would like it or not, I'm sure you will like it. And you should apply, of course.
Thank you so much. And how are you finding your course?
It's pretty good. Like, lectures are mostly electives, and so you get to choose depending on the path you want to follow. Of course, there are some of them which are like compulsory, but in general, you can choose. So you won't be like following the same path as everyone. It's just your.
Fantastic. Thank you. Juan Sebastian, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm good. Yeah, so my name is Juan Sebastian Rojas. I'm also from Colombia, from Bogota, and I'm studying a master's in advanced mechanical engineering. So, like, first, why to choose Imperial? As Catherine was saying, like, Imperial has like a big research environment, and particularly in engineering, I have found that in my department in mechanical engineering there is like a really like advanced topics to work on in different fields. Like it is not like focused on only one field of engineering. It's focusing on a lot of fields, and it's also working really closely to industry. So from my point of view, that was really nice to see it here. I'm particularly interested in energy sector, so I am like currently going to research a little bit in my masters for batteries, and the labs here for that are amazing, and they are like following really close what is the trend in the energy sector, and also they're working really close with industry, which is really nice. And how my classes have been going, like the master's is like really fast, so it's 1 year, so it starts in October and it's introduction and then you start classes. So from my master is like you can decide which sector you wanna focus on, like because it's like you have 30 different models and you have to choose six based on what are your preferences, and you can custom however you like the masters. In that way, my master is divided like in first 3 months is classes, then it's 3 months of full group projects, and then it's 3 months of full research on for like a group, like working with a research group within the department. And and last, like advice for the audience, like this process of like applying for a master is like from my point of view, it takes a lot of time. So in my experience, I started this like in November 2024, and I got like the letter from Imperial like in March, but I got like the full decision of being able to come here until July 2025. So it's a long process. So my advice for you is like you have to be patient and know that this is long. This is going to take some time, but maybe it will vary depending on the person. But you have to be patient and not get this to be too stressful while you make the process. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. Some brilliant
Um,
advice there. And Julian, and of course to the audience, please do put any questions for our amazing students in the chat as well.
Hi, Catherine, can I speak in Spanish as the majority
Yes,
are
yes, please
speaking
do. Yeah.
in Spanish? Okay. So, hola a todos, mi nombre es Julián. Yo estoy estudiando una maestría en la Escuela de Salud Pública que se llama Health Data Science and Machine Learning. Es mayoritariamente todos los modelos de Machine Learning e inteligencia artificial aplicadas a salud. Yo elegí Imperial, obviamente, creo que los rankings tienen mucho que influir en la decisión, pero aparte de eso no solamente se fijen en eso, sino en el máster que ustedes quieren hacer, qué tan fuerte es también la universidad. A mí lo que me ayudó fue por LinkedIn, escribirles a las personas, siempre creo que las personas en LinkedIn siempre son muy abiertas, generalmente todas las personas de Imperial también son súper abiertas a dar consejos. Yo le escribí a los estudiantes que estaban haciendo mi mismo máster del 2024, le escribí a los profesores. Gracias a eso también hice algunas conexiones antes de llegar a Imperial y pude empezar a investigar con algunos profes que son colombianos, están trabajando en Imperial. Entonces eso también les ayuda a abrir las oportunidades. Mi mayor consejo es siempre vayan a LinkedIn, busquen a las personas que están haciendo el curso y a los profes. Ellos son súper abiertos y la mayoría de profes que están en Imperial realmente son muy apasionados por lo que están estudiando, entonces les van a dar consejos muy buenos. La experiencia por ahora me ha parecido muy buena. Creo que por algo de la universidad es una de las mejores a nivel mundial. La parte de investigación es increíble. Creo que yo, digamos que tengo la experiencia, hice un máster en Colombia y es completamente distinto. No vayan a esperar aquí, por ejemplo, que les vayan a dar tema por tema o que todo sea como súper digerible. Aquí solamente les van a dar lecturas, les van a dar trabajos y a las clases solamente son 1 o 2 horas y ustedes la mayoría de veces solamente van a ir a hacer preguntas, de pronto un poco más complejas, entonces las clases se tornan o tienden a ser un poco más densas en el sentido que son solamente preguntas de lo que ustedes ya han leído. Si definitivamente ya están seguros de que quieren tomar Imperial, consejo desde antes de ingresar y que inicie el siguiente año, antes de llegar aquí a Londres, empiecen a mirar los programas, el programa, qué materias están viendo, empiecen a estudiar antes de llegar acá, porque se van a dar cuenta que después de la primera semana de inducción, la siguiente semana ya tienen 40.000 trabajos, ya tienen 40.000 assignment. De igual manera, tienen que hacer ustedes vida social aquí dentro de lo que pueden con la universidad y con las distintas sociedades. Entonces, a veces eso puede llegar a ser un poco abrumador. Las oportunidades aquí están todos los días hay eventos, todos los días hay networking y tienen que saber aprovechar todo.
Amazing, thank you. And yes, Juan Sebastian and Paolo, if you'd rather speak in Spanish, please do. I can just about understand, which is great. Just before we kind of open up to questions, I guess just to ask, obviously, you've given some amazing insights into your experience at Imperial so far. I guess any reflections on kind of coming to London, any sort of surprises? Obviously, the weather maybe is a bit of a classic thing to have to navigate, but any reflections on how you're finding life in London?
Ok, inicio. A mí me ha encantado Londres. Realmente todo el mundo siempre dice que Londres llueve todo el tiempo. Yo vengo a Bogotá, me parece que Bogotá llueve más. Me ha gustado mucho Londres, la comunidad que uno genera acá, el networking, las oportunidades. Creo que una de las cosas es, si uno realmente quiere buscar a crecer a nivel profesional, Londres es el lugar indicado. Imperial de igual manera es la universidad indicada para hacer ese crecimiento.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, Juan Sebastián, do you want to add
Sí, sí,
anything?
voy a hablar en español en esta parte. Sí, la verdad, la experiencia en Londres ha sido increíble. O sea, Londres es una ciudad muy bonita, muy bien organizada. Digamos que yo generalmente me muevo en bicicleta de mi casa a la universidad y el viaje siempre es súper tranquilo, es todo, es como en términos de arquitectura, Londres es increíble, es hermoso, es como que los medios de transporte acá hay muchísima variedad que uno puede usar. Y más aparte, digamos que la universidad está como muy cerca a museos y como a muchos temas culturales. Y además, Londres es una ciudad que yo encuentro que como tiene tanta influencia cultural de muchas partes, pues hay muchísimas cosas que uno puede hacer acá. Y ya dependiendo de los intereses de cada uno, pues en diferentes áreas que cada uno puede buscar como que puede hacer afuera de la universidad, como temas extracurriculares y hay muchísimas cosas de dónde elegir. Y sí, eso sería.
Brilliant, thank you. And I don't know if you want to add anything, Paola.
Yo creo que siempre como que nos están diciendo que el clima aquí es muy diferente, que de pronto no nos va a gustar porque, no sé, es demasiado frío. Y honestamente el cielo sí mantiene oscuro, no voy a decir que no, pero realmente no es tan grave. Como que lo que pasa aquí es que hace mucho viento. Pero cuando uno está adentro, por ejemplo, en un salón, en la casa, donde sea, realmente, por lo menos a mí, me da calor. Entonces, pues nada, o sea, es no tenerle miedo. Obviamente, yo sé que de aquí en adelante se va a poner más frío y después se va a poner más caliente, pero no importa. Y también es verdad lo que dice Juan Sebastián, aquí hay muchas culturas diferentes. Realmente uno puede aprender muchas cosas, puede aprender cómo se mueve el mundo, tal vez si el clima es igual o es diferente en otros países. Y ese intercambio cultural como que hace más llevadero todo a pesar de que haya cosas pues diferentes, obviamente. Y ya, lo otro es que aquí en Londres en realidad hay muchas cosas por hacer. Hay museos, hay, no sé, obviamente todos, yo creo que desde que llegamos lo primero que pensamos es el Big Ben y el London Eye. Hay muchas ferias, hay muchos markets, entonces hay comida de todos los lugares, donde quieran probar comida, hay comida. Entonces, nada, hay muchas cosas por hacer y es muy divertido, en verdad.
Fantastic, thank you. And yes, I think people can be maybe scared about the food, but we in London have lots of options for everyone. And before we just kind of open up to questions, if anyone wants to share kind of if you've got kind of thought out plans about what you want to do after this time, kind of are you still exploring options or is this part of a kind of a plan that you kind of wanted to do your masters and then you've got something set? And if, yeah, any kind of opportunities, mentioned about the networking and things, but if anyone has anything they wanted to share about kind of what they're thinking of doing afterwards. I know you're only just starting, but
Pues yo creo que desde antes de que ustedes lleguen a Londres, uno tiene que pensar en eso. En mi caso, lo ideal es encontrar un trabajo de investigación de Research Assistant en alguna de las universidades de acá y ya aplicar el siguiente año un PhD directamente aquí también en Londres. Pero no, yo siento que uno de los errores que veo que muchas de las personas que vienen a hacer el máster es esperan hasta terminar el máster para buscar oportunidades, no vayan a hacer eso. Se van a dar cuenta que desde que ustedes llegan hay muchas empresas que están contratando o que están abriendo aplicaciones para iniciar en septiembre del siguiente año. Entonces es algo que sí o sí uno tiene que empezar a buscar desde ya, aplicar a trabajos, mirar cómo mejorar la hoja de vida, mirar cómo mejorar las cover letters, porque sí o sí uno tiene que aplicar tan pronto empieza el máster.
Thank you.
Sí, 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 totalmente de acuerdo con Julián. Acá los temas como laborales empiezan muchísimo tiempo antes de lo que yo estaba acostumbrado en Colombia. Entonces yo literal, la primera semana tuve la inducción de la maestría y las clases, pero también las inducciones en bueno, ferias laborales inmediatamente. Empezaba el máster. Entonces, y pues acá las personas que son locales conocen eso, entonces como que ya ellos ya empiezan a aplicar a lugares. Y pues te preguntan, no, tú ya aplicaste a tal, y yo pues la verdad, al inicio yo estaba un poco perdido, porque yo no estaba acostumbrado a esto. Entonces pues sí es importante saber que desde el inicio van a haber oportunidades como laborales, oportunidades también de investigación, y pues siempre es estar, aunque sea dedicarle un poco en el día o en la semana, pues bueno, a como que a qué oportunidades hay, y no esperar hasta el final. Creo que acá te enseñan que desde el inicio, desde que empieza el máster, hay que empezar a pensar en qué vas a hacer después, ya sea quedarte acá los 18 meses o volver a Colombia también. Entonces, pues es importante siempre estar planeando y pensando cómo avanzar en eso.
Thanks. Thank you. It's great.
Yo
Paula?
tengo por agregar que aquí Imperial como que se enfoca mucho también en hacer ferias de empleo, pues de que uno entienda, digamos, qué oportunidades tiene, qué compañías hay, porque obviamente no son las mismas que habría en Colombia. Y también hay como un departamento que se encarga de guiarlo a uno en ese sentido, porque efectivamente desde el momento en el que uno empieza la maestría, tiene que empezar a aplicar prácticamente porque la fecha límite es como en diciembre, pues probablemente de aquí a diciembre o pues de septiembre a diciembre uno no haya decidido qué compañía o qué camino quiere seguir, pero pues ya le toca empezar. Entonces, si desde Colombia uno lo tiene fijo, creo que es mejor. Obviamente aquí también hay em, digamos, muchas oportunidades para preguntar y averiguar. En las ferias, por ejemplo, uno puede preguntar si dicha compañía le patrocina la visa o si no. Como que hay muchas cosas que de pronto uno puede preguntarse y que en la página web no lo va a encontrar, pero en las ferias sí. Entonces, es aprovechar esas oportunidades.
Fantastic, thank you. Yeah, I think kind of that's pretty much it from us, or unless anyone, Paula, Juan Sebastian, or Julian want to add anything final, any final thoughts or advice. Otherwise, we can see if there's any questions in the chat. Great. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, really great to hear how you're getting on. I really hope you're going to enjoy the next few months coming up. Make the most, obviously, the time will go quickly, I'm sure. But great to hear how you're settling in and wishing you all the best for your time in London.
Perfect, Catherine. Thank you so much. Julian, Juan Sebastian, Paula, thank you also for this valuable information that you give us. We have some questions for you. Okay, Catherine, the first question is, do you have 3D animation scholarships?
No, so we don't kind of offer programs in that kind of area. Just generally on the scholarship side, what I can maybe put in the chat is a link to our scholarship pages where students can go on and kind of search all our opportunities that are available there. So I'll put that in the chat.
Ok, Catherine, thank you. Ok, para Julián, Juan Sebastián y Paula, nos escribe Estefanía si es posible que ustedes coloquen sus correos electrónicos en el chat o en respuesta a la pregunta que ella realizó para que ella pudiera contactarse con ustedes. Gracias, Julián. Ya estás respondiendo. Okay, Catherine. Michelle says, I'm very interested in applying to the Master of Science Finance program at Imperial College and would be grateful if you could please clarify a few points regarding the admission requirements. The first one is there a minimum amount of professional work experience required for applicants to the Master of Science in Finance program?
So in most cases, no, for most of our master's programs. I'm just going to see if I can get up the specific pages. I don't believe for that one we would. In most cases, masters, if you've got work experience, brilliant, but it's not a kind of requirement in most cases beyond something like an MBA, for example.
Okay, perfect. The second question is, I am currently preparing for the GMAT and would like to know if it's possible to submit my application first and provide the GMAT score is likely later.
So what I would say is if you feel like you're going to run out of time in terms of the kind of recommended timelines, do submit your application. Don't kind of wait and feel like you're going to kind of miss anything. However, obviously it's part of kind of the application review, the GMAT. It's likely to strengthen your application for this particular programme. So ideally you would want it there to kind of have it to consider alongside, your sort of your GPA and everything else. But as I said, don't kind of, wait and kind of miss any deadlines. You can always kind of let the team know it'll be coming. They may place your application on hold before they can submit, they review it totally. Ideally, have it all together. But as I said, don't miss any deadlines.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. And the last question from Michelle is, besides the GMAT, are there any additional mathematics or quantitative assessments required during the admission process?
So I think that will cover the kind of standard side. I'm just going to double check. There is a quantitative experience statement. So there is an online test to do as part of the application for that particular programme. So as kind of noted, for most of the programmes, it's just your kind of academic GPA, but the business school do have some specific requirements. But if you go to the business school pages, so what I'll do is I'll put a link in the chat for this finance one. It goes into all the details about the kind of specific extra requirements for the business school programmes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Could you remember for us which is the IELTS level required to join to the university?
Get that up as well. So it's going to be something like either a 6.5 or a 7, depending on which programme you're applying to. But I'll share that list of all the English language requirements as we take a whole range, and we'll be able to. Yeah, so on the online course, it will say whether higher or lower kind of requirement is needed, but here is all the English language requirements.
Okay, perfect, Catherine, thank you. And talking about average and the puntage is a last question that Michelle have is, what is the average score of the GMAT for the Master of Science in Finance?
So I think it will be on... Yeah, so at least a 600 for the GMAT.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, lady says, I'm a third-year psychology student. My internship period is coming up soon, and I was wondering if your university accepts international interns. If so, what would be the process of the requirements, and do you have scholarships for international internships?
So we don't have scholarships for any kind of short placements, but if you did want to come and spend time kind of working, kind of with one of our academics, with our researchers, it would just be a question of reaching out to them. There is a formal visiting application process, but normally that would be done after you've kind of had agreement from an academic that you can come and they can host you, but we don't offer any funding for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Jimena says, I want to know if I fit almost all the scores for higher English requirements, but I have got 110 in one of the subject of the Duolingo English test. Can I apply anyway?
So if you have an English language test and you kind of maybe don't quite meet all the sides of the requirements, so we are very specific. For example, if you need an overall score and you need minimum scores in sections, for example, again, it will be clearly listed, the requirements. But if you kind of find that maybe one section is a bit lower than our requirement, but your overall score is looking good, you can submit that, but you would then need to resit the test to meet all the kind of stated standards. So anything that's stated around, certain areas will need to be met. If it's not stated, if it is just an overall score, that's absolutely fine. So again, that web page I shared will give exact details per test, what we would be looking for.
Okay, perfect. And the last question that we have is, I am an oceanographer in the Colombian Navy, but I want to pursue the master's in engineering fluid mechanics for the offshore, coastals and built environment and Imperial College. I don't have the required experience, so what would you recommend I do in order to apply for this master's and make a turn in my professional life?
Sure. So in a lot of cases, we don't need a really kind of specific background. So often the masters can be open to kind of a general, either engineering or a science background. So I'm just going to see if I can get the information on that one in particular. Again, we're very transparent around those under the entry requirements. So I probably should have explained a bit more in terms of, as well as a minimum GPA, we will usually say if a specific subject is required. So some masters that will be in requirement, it's a step up kind of from your bachelor's, but in other ways it's often kind of an open one. So this particular one is looking for a science or an engineering background. So it doesn't matter which kind of science or engineering background you come from. So I think just looking back at that one, so it depends on what your undergraduate degree is in, basically. So you would need an undergraduate degree. Although work experience could strengthen an application, if we have an academic requirement, you would need a bachelor's undergraduate degree. But for that one, we'd be open to kind of a science or an engineering.
Okay, thank you so much, Catherine. So I don't know if you can to put your email in the chat in order to the people that have maybe specific questions for you could contact you directly.
Just put it up on the screen there as well. So
Oh, yes, perfect. Yeah, with that screen that. Okay, Catherine, thank you so much again for this opportunity to share this valuable information to all the Colombian students. So thank you, and I hope to see you in the next opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Juan Sebastián, Julián, Paula, también muchísimas gracias a ustedes por participar en esta sesión y por brindarnos toda la información tan valiosa que nos compartieron en esta ocasión. Les deseo muchísimos éxitos en su posgrado y mil gracias nuevamente.